Today I'm going to show you my brand new preset pack for the JOYO Gembox K8. The JOYO Gembox K8, or however the company is called, is a relatively new budget-friendly modeling unit, and I got it last week. And first I was a little bit surprised because it seems that the unit comes with the same algorithms, amps, effects and caps like the Harley Benton DNA FxGit Pro, another budget-friendly modeling unit which is about €200 cheaper than this. And it's not a new modeling unit, so the Harley Benton DNA FxGit Pro is available, I think, already for 3 years. I have it, it sounds great, but I wouldn't say that it has the state-of-the-art modeling technology like the newer product lines like the Hotone Ampero 2 or the Mooer GE300 series have. Anyway, I compared these and I found out that although they share the same software, they sound a little different from each other. Both sound good. And at first, I must confess, I was a little bit disappointed about the JOYO Gembox because features it comes with, well, it's not a lot. But then I dialed in my favorite highgain tones and I found the unit to be sounding really good with many amp models. So here's the editor. And currently I'm playing one preset out of the pack, which is called DK Recto. You can see it here. Let me briefly explain the layout of the preset pack. So each preset has more or less the same effects. I'm using a noise gate. I'm using an overdrive, which is the 808, I think, in all cases, and an amp, and the built-in cap, custom audio, but I tweaked the amp and the cap, of course, and an EQ, which does some, usually it takes out some mids or some highs. Then there's a modulation block, usually it's the analog chorus, I think, but yeah, sometimes it's turned on, sometimes turned off. If you use it, it sounds like these 80s, well, high gain. And we have a delay, of course, as the name says, delay for leads, different settings. This is a short setting for maybe fast metal tones, but in other presets you will find a stereo delay with a longer setting. So I didn't focus on modulation effects because the unit doesn't come with a shitload of modulation effects, and instead I dialed in highgain tones with the highgain amps. So here's one with the Recto. And here's the one with the JC800. If it sounds dark, these presets are mostly for playing at home or for live usage. They work for recording as well, but you can play around with the high cut here if they sound too dark to you. What I do recommend is to have a look at this setting here. The 6K is something which I usually dial out for live. because it's annoying. It's also annoying in a recording situation, but sometimes you can raise it a little bit. The JCM 800, of course, nice for leads, but also classic rock tone. Doesn't seem to be that dynamic. But a little bit of dynamics are there. And yeah, I recommend to disable the OD if you want to have some crunchy tones, because I didn't focus on crunch tones, so the preset pack doesn't bring a lot of these. But some of the amps, especially the Marshalls, they work quite well without an OD crunch situation. Here's an orange. It's also nice for lead tones. Mesa Mark V got its own voicing. Tends to get boxy. I dialed these boxy frequencies out here around 300 Hertz. You can do this more if it sounds too boxy for you. I recommend, if you dial out more lower mids, then maybe dial out a little bit more of these 6K frequencies to compensate. Otherwise, maybe your tone will get a little bit too trebly. Friedman 80s Friedman amp needs a lot of EQ in this unit. And of course, this amp is also good for leads. If you like modern Marshall tones, Friedman is always a good choice. Wagner Ecstasy model, which sounds kick-ass in this unit. A little bit difficult to dial in, but once you got it, it's really fun to play. Very saturated tone. I recommend to be careful with the gain here and also in the OD blocks. So if you find your guitar to have too much output, reduce these settings, these parameters here, the gain. What I personally did with this guitar, the Harley Benton Fusion, I raised the overall input level about 2 dB because these pickups, they're a little bit weak or vintage voice. But if you're playing, let's say, an SH4 or a tone zone, and if you have your pickups a little bit higher than me, closer to the strings, then maybe you don't need this 2 dB boost. And another Rector preset here, which I'll skip now. We have 5153. Here the 6K are still in, so instead the high cut is set a little bit lower. The other thing, you can set the high cut higher and use this EQ to eliminate the 6K. That will do the job in most scenarios. But yeah, you can play around with that, of course. This is the 9004. I don't know exactly which Marshall model this is, so if you know it, please let me know in the comment section. But it sounds really good in this unit. A little bit more open than the JCM 800, with more gain. Great for leads. Here you have in the cap section the tube emulation. So set this to be a full force. Check how dynamic this amp is. And in comparison, the JVM 410. This is an amp which can sound really fizzy, at least the original amp. And I own the original. I dial out a lot of the highs with this amp, but then it also can sound really full and rich. And yeah, we have some other high gain amps like the Savage 120, for example. This is a preset I would use for metal riffage. Currently the delay is engaged, but of course for riffage I wouldn't engage it. And of course the short delay here. Short time delay for fast. threading. And in addition, you got my U2 delay. So you know what this is supposed to sound like. And of course, if you disengage the delay, you got this nice crunch. Sorry, crunch box tone. I like to play this on the neck single coil or neck humbucker in the split mode. And you got a clean patch using a Fender amp. Just that you have a clean patch, but yeah, I think most of you are interested in the high gain tones. So this is my first version of the high gain preset pack, and as always, if you would like to get my preset packs for any given unit on the market, please contact me on Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description below. Consider subscribing my channel if you haven't already. And let me know what you think about this unit. Adios.